back to the Transforming Your Mind to Transforming Your Life, the podcast. This is Life Coach Marina Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Dr. Sharon R. Frank. Dr. Frank and I are going to be talking on the topic unlocking your full potential as an entrepreneur. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. Yes, as a fellow realtor, I'm going to enjoy our conversation today. All right, so let me give you guys a brief introduction. Dr. Sharon R. Frank thrives in the real estate industry, passionately serving as a strong advocate and in-depth problem solver for a diverse range of individuals. Since 1997, Dr. Sharon has played a pivotal role in the real estate, mortgage, and development sectors. She holds an honorary Ph.D. in real estate and business management from Harvard Christian University, alongside an Associate of Science degree in business administration and property management. Dr. Frank's career includes leading satellite mortgage branches from Novastar Home Mortgage Inc. and Northside Capital Corp., as well as founding Gold Key Homes Real Estate and Genesis Holdings of Nassau LLC. Her ventures have primarily focused on acquiring and refurbishing distressed properties, as well as new construction projects in Long Island, New York. Well, hey, you're in the right market. You're in the right market. All
Yeah,
right. I need
yeah.
to come hit you up for a loan.
Okay. Anytime.
Yeah, nice. All right. I like your work because it not only concentrates on the real estate and all that, but as someone who has an honorary degree, your work is kind of encouraging, women, or I'm not sure, if you're targeting women or not, but you're teaching how to overcome self-limiting beliefs and mindset and all these things. So I want to start off our conversation today by asking you, how did you overcome self-limiting beliefs to achieve success in real estate?
Well, I would say definitely. It was my faith and my belief in myself, right? Um, Too often, I think we look for every excuse there is under the sun. We were born on the wrong side of the track. We didn't have the advantages that someone had. And that's the reason why we can achieve, or we don't have the resources that someone else has. And that's why we can't achieve what we want to achieve or go where we want to go in life and with career. But those beliefs are self-limiting beliefs, right? Um, if you just sit back and you read up on people who have achieved great things, whether it's in business, sports, life, you would see a lot of them, their background is very similar to yours, where they started with nothing, but they had a dream and they had goals, right? And they overcame, and not because they were like, woe is me, but they decided that they were not going to remain the same, or they're not going to be in the same position next year. And they decided to take steps, right? Whatever steps those were, however they decided to take steps. But I tell you, one of the main things I found when I read on people who came from nothing to where they are now, they had an action plan. They had an action plan of what it is they are going to do and how they are going to get there. So I think a lot of times when we say we just don't know, it's because we haven't thought it through completely and give yourself a plan. Now, as you go through life, that plan may change, right? Um, but I always say to people who ask me about getting to where they need to go, one of the questions I always ask them, do you have faith? Do you have faith? Yes, I do. A lot of people say, yes, I have faith, right? So I have to break it down to them. What does faith mean to you, right?
Right.
Faith is not hoping that something will fall out the sky and fall in your lap. What faith is, faith is saying, I have just enough information to take the next step.
I love that.
I don't have all of the information to take that steps, 50 million steps to get to where I want to go, but I have just enough information in front of me to take the next step. Faith is not knowing how you're going to get there, but to know that you are going to get there. So if you have enough information in front of you, take the next step, right? And then once you take that step, believe me, your mindset shifts, perspective shifts, right? Things you thought that wasn't there, resources shows up. People are put in your path because you didn't take that step to get there. So there's some people waiting for you when you take that next step, right?
Yeah,
And
I
then
love
what,
that. You know,
right?
Dr. Martin Luther King says, and one of the things that I always quote is that you're right. In fact, I think it's the whole statement to that. Faith is like, taking the next step on the staircase, even though you can't see the entire staircase. And you're totally right. So, how did your faith allow you to be successful in the real estate industry?
Um, I always, what I do is I just focus on what is in front of me for now, right? What's here now? What's available to me now? And faith is something that it's like anything else. You have to practice faith, right? It's like anything else. A muscle, you have a muscle. You go to the gym the first time. You've never been to the gym or you haven't been there for a long time. You can only lift maybe 3 pounds when you go, right? So you go for the first 6 weeks, you're lifting 3 pounds. And then before you know it, you can do 5 and 10. Faith is a muscle that needs to be um, worked on, right? And how my faith grew is as I took one step and I looked around and I was like, hey, this is not too bad, right? Um, and I'm standing there, opportunities are coming to me, and now I have a whole lot of more information. And I said to myself, well, this guy asked me if I would come on to be part of his mortgage bank, and this guy wants to know if I would come and be part of his organization. I had someone, I'll just give you a quick example. Someone called and said, I was going through a very rough time in my life. And I was just sitting doing anything, nothing. I was trying to think of what's my next step. What should I do next? Right. Um, Someone said to me, you shouldn't just be sitting at home. You need to get out and do something. I said, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. What I was waiting for, I have no clue. Someone said to me, there's an organization that is looking for people to volunteer and you have background in mortgages. Da, da, da. Would you go? I said, okay. I went there, spoke to the guy. And once I told him my background, he said, okay, I would like for you to do this for us, right? I said, okay, wonderful. He said, you would look over these families who are applying for, they're people who are applying for houses. I'll tell you the organization. It is Habitat for Humanity. And you see the families come in, you have mortgage background and I want you to vet the families for the next build, right? I said, okay, I can do that. It's pretty easy. So I went in there, I did that for them. Next thing you know, they put me in charge of that committee. Then they wanted me on another committee, and then they wanted me, before you know it, I was the vice president for the board of directors for Habitat for Humanity.
That's a
Right?
good story right there. I would like to put a pin in that because right now our climate is a lot of people are losing their jobs and a lot of people, sitting and like you said, waiting, maybe waiting for the phone to ring, waiting for, you send out all these resumes and you're waiting for someone to call you back. But you're right. And it's really interesting. But I had whenever I talk to people, I always talk about my daughter and I always talk about personal things to me. And I mentioned to one of my guests last week, oh, my daughter is one of these people that just lost her job based on this, the Trump thing. And she says, tell her to come and we're looking for volunteers. And my daughter signed up. You know what I mean? She says, I asked her, I said, well, did you sign up because it was a great offer or did you sign up because you had nothing to do? She says, I signed up because I had nothing to do. But she also signed up because what this person is doing could open some doors and new things for her. So I like that. I mean, that is good encouragement for anybody that's listening that,
Yeah.
yeah, volunteer. In fact, she has had a 9-year career with a fantastic company. And how did she start? An intern, which is like free. It's not
Yeah.
volunteering. Yeah, it's free.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
I tell whenever I'm speaking to anyone, I oftentimes I go into schools and I speak to the students. I go into shelters, women's shelter, and I speak to the women, and or career events. And one of the main thing I hear is like, I would like to start this kind of business, but I don't know where to start. Or I'd like to start a daycare, but I don't know how to do it. One of the best way to find out if it's something, number one, that you really want to do, or to find out how it's done, is by volunteering.
Yeah.
That whatever field that is, you want to learn how to do whatever it is, makeup, hair, open your own restaurant, what have you, right?
Yeah.
Volunteer, get into
Oh,
it.
and it was called apprenticeship. That's how you learn. It's very true. Now, this is a totally different thing for my daughter, but she's going to learn some skills. Maybe she's going to meet some new people. And she said yes right away. So I like that. You just made a classic example is you're sitting at home, you're waiting, you're going through a hard time. Someone said, go do this. You followed it. And that's where God shows up really, because, faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
I have faith too.
Exactly.
You gotta do something.
You
So
got to do something.
that's pretty great. Okay. So one of your key messages is also personal transformation. What is the biggest mindset shift that you think that someone needs to elevate their life? Using the same scenario. I mean, is the mindset shift that you don't want to work for free? Is the mindset shift that, you know, um, uh, God is going to provide? What's the mindset shift?
I think beneath all of those excuses that God is going to provide and and whatever else, I believe a lot of it is riddled with fear and doubt, right? Because when we're fearful, we can find a million reasons why we don't think it's going to work, or it's not going to work, or I'll just stay right here until God does something, right? It's because we're fearful. We don't know the outcome. A lot of people is afraid of failing to begin with,
Right.
right? They're afraid of the unknown, the failing. So what I try to do is I try to use myself as an example, right? I try to tell them that I was in that same position at one point because I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of what people would think if I was to try this particular business or get into investing in this, and I would fail. But and I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know, you know, what I should do when I get there, because that's fear talking to you. But you have to push past that doubt and that fear. And you have to learn to trust yourself, right? Instead of thinking about, I always tell you this to anyone that I speak with, instead of thinking, see, a lot of us, we think about the effects of failure, right? What it will affect. I look at it the other way around, right? Failure is simply feedback, right? It's feedback. It's telling you what you should do right the next time,
Or what you should,
right?
right?
Or
Listen.
what you shouldn't do
Yeah.
the
And
next
listen,
time.
fail 10,000 times. You just learn what not to do to make the life right.
Right. Right. So all it is feedback. That's first and foremost. And then the other thing that I think about too, when it comes to failure, there is lessons to be learned in everything that happens, whether it's negative or positive. And a lot of time we pass those lessons on as though it's someone else's fault, right? They didn't do this.
Right.
They didn't do that. They said that, right? But it's also lessons for us as a person, right? How were we how were we involved in it? What part did we play in it, right? What, again, personally, not looking at the event, the business, or what have you. I remember I had businesses that failed, right? But I had to take a hard look after the second business that failed. I had to step back and take a hard look at myself. right? And say to myself, Sharon, this is what you need to do with yourself, right? You're too trusting. You give people too many chances. That was the thing that I had to learn, right? And then I had to search myself and find out, where is that belief or that mindset coming from,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's a good virtue to have, but sometimes it's not
Yeah.
right in it may be the wrong thing in the right thing in the wrong environment.
Okay.
Let me put
Right.
it to you this
Right.
way,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So it helps you, failing helps you to take a look at yourself, and it helps you to take a look at your mindset and your belief system, and figure out why it is things turned out the way it is. So I'm not afraid of failing anymore, because I know at that is a lesson that I have to learn, and I have to figure some things out about myself. And that's the only way that you would grow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not going to
Because
grow.
if you're not failing, then you're not taking risks. And if you're not
Yeah,
taking risks, you're not really pushing yourself
right.
to get
So
to the next level. Right.
you do what's familiar. You stay in that comfort zone that's very comfort and familiar, and you play it safe, right? So there's no self-awareness going on.
Yeah. A little bit of feedback. I became a Christian in maybe 2002. And, I started reading. I mean, my personal growth journey started around that same time. And I was reading this book and it said, you got to get out of your comfort zone. And I would be sitting in church every Sunday and I'm saying, I'm not walking down that aisle because that's out of my comfort zone. And do you know what I did? Yes, when I read that book and says, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Anything that you want in life, you got to get out of your comfort zone. And I made that walk down the aisle. But yeah, you're never going to grow if you stay in your comfort zone. So,
You're not. You're not. Yeah.
okay. So you've got a brand and it's called the Frank Collective and it focuses on personal and professional growth. What makes your brand different? I mean, because that's the conversation we've been having here today. We haven't even talked about real estate much yet.
All right. So I started the Frank Collective. It's not just about motivation. I started the Frank Collective because I realized that one of the hardest things as human beings is to go through transitions, right? Um, to change is one of the hardest things. To go through a transition is one of the hardest things. A lot of time when we have turbulence happening in our life and turmoil happening in our lives, we see it as negative. But a lot of time that's transformation knocking at your door, right? Try to get you to really take a hard look at what you want to do. So I realize a lot of people have a problem with transforming and going through transition, right? So if you want to be successful, right, you have to learn again to step out of your comfort zone and to take practical steps and strategies to help you with that transition. All right. It's not an easy thing to do. And a lot of time you need someone to help you process that whole transformation and transitioning into becoming successful. So I started the Frank Collective to help with people with their businesses, with their life in general, to understand what it takes to go through a transformation, to transition to who you really want to become. Because a lot of us know what we want to become, but we don't know how to get there,
Of course.
right? We don't know how to get there.
That's what's
So my
interesting.
brand focuses.
So I have a roots. I know exactly what you're talking about. Right.
Right. Yep. 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 Right. And to have those hard
So what is the collectives? Because I like that. I mean, the Frank is obviously your name. So what is your collective?
So the collective is a collection of personal growth, um, uh, professional development, right? It is dealing with life in general, right? Helping you to elevate your business, your career, your life. ultimately, living that life that you desire. And we're not talking about just money or material things. We're talking about seeing yourself as you need to see yourself, right? A lot of us don't see ourselves the way we should be seeing ourselves. We see ourselves as how we were told, or what other word people tell us that we are.
Right, right,
But
right.
we need to recognize who we are, our strengths, our weaknesses, and understand that it all works together, right? To make us and mold us into what we need to be and where we should be in life. So it's a collective of different things happening that I'm working on with people, trying to get them there, not only financially, but also with their business and also with their own personal journey.
So is it a course or what is it?
So it is a couple of different things. But we have coaching, we have courses, we have self-help um, materials to help people on their journey. And we will be implementing something called the Elevate Forum, right? The Elevate Forum is a forum where I will be helping you to elevate into the next level. If you're stuck and you want to move forward, we will be helping you in the Elevate Forum how to move forward. And there's certain methods that we will be using to help you with that elevation.
That sounds really good. That sounds really good. Yes. And I'm assuming that it's faith based as well.
Yes. I'm a woman of faith. So yes, it's faith based, of course. Not that we want everyone to attend, but we use a lot of values and principles from the Bible that helps us to live a better life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I like it. I like it. I like it. Awesome. All right. So tell our listeners where they can connect with you and where they can and how they can, become a part of the Frank Collective.
Okay, so you can find us at thefrankcollective.net. That's our website. You can also find us on social media platforms. You can look under Sharon R. Frank or the Frank Collectives. And if you are interested in our real estate program, you can find us under Sovereign Spaces Realty. We have a lot of good stuff coming up. We have a forum coming up for the real estate as well as the um, Frank Collective, where you can participate and you can join the forum. And we should be putting up some announcements soon when the days and times when those would be available.
Yeah, yeah. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Well, I'm already following you on Instagram and on Facebook. So I know you've got a great presence there. But yes, I love your form. I love your work, what you're doing. Because yes, you're right. A lot of people needs help. And if you have gone through, something and you've excelled and you broke through that ceiling, then yes, what you've learned can be, transferred to someone else. And in
Yeah.
fact, that's why God gives you a test so that you can have a testimony. So that's awesome. I
Yeah.
will have a summary of my conversation with Dr. Frank on the show page, with is myhelps.us. I will link out to her website and her social media handles. And yeah, if you want to send me some information on your forum, I'll also add it to the show notes so that people can to get involved in that. So your forum is helping, people with real estate. Is that what that is?
No, no, but the Frank Collective is helping people elevate with their lives and their businesses and their careers.
Oh my God! But you also
Yeah.
said you have
The real estate.
Soviet
So
Spaces Realty. Right.
right.
Okay.
Sovereign Spaces Realty is a real estate platform. We will be doing training on the real estate platform. You mentioned skills, and one of the things I want to impress upon people in this climate that we live in, we need skills. We need skills, right? We can't rely on the 9 to 5. We need skills. So, Sovereign Spaces Realty is putting on the what's called an investors forum, showing you how to use real estate to earn passive income.
No.
Right, right, and yes, and if you want to learn how to invest, we would teach you how to do that. And in the fall, we're doing an international investment forum where we have people coming from different countries, Dubai, Jamaica, where large developments are going on, because I think it's time we start thinking about investing outside of
Well,
the US.
make sure you invite me to that because I'm very
Definitely will. Definitely will.
yeah, and send me
Definitely
the
will.
updates on that so I can post it. That's
Yes.
I started on that, but I never did anything with it. I started Jamaica was one of the places I wanted to retire. So I started looking at investments and then they started getting all crazy. So I
Yeah, yeah. International, there's a lot going on. International investment is the way to go right now. We still do a lot of investment here in the United States, but I think we ought to look at other places. I can't tell you how much different it is to invest in other countries than it is in the United States. It's almost impossible to do it in the United States. It is possible. You need someone to coach you through it if you've never done it. But if you go outside of the United States, investing there is a piece of cake.
oh, wow. Well, I need to learn that from you, doctor.
Yeah,
So make sure you invite me to that. I'll be effort on that for sure.
I
So I'm
definitely
glad we ended up with real estate because we didn't really touch on it. But yeah, so that's amazing. So hey guys, so we are talking about the Frank Collectives here that allows you to elevate your life, get out of being stuck, helps you to go to the next level, helps you to get rid of your limiting beliefs, let you know that failure is not final, that failure just allows you to know what not to do or what you should do the next time. So yes, this is what Dr. Frank is helping you with. And then in addition to that, she's also helping you to passive income because passive income is how you're going to build your retirement. Passive income is how you are going to get from the rags to riches story, let money work for you. So I'm just adding all that because I am for this conversation. This is the space that I'm in. And that's the space that's why I said I'm on there. Because yes, I started looking at investment in the Caribbean or even Italy and all those places, but I never got around to it. So yeah, I would love to go to a foreign to learn how to do it. So perfect.
right.
Right. Touching that. Yes.
Okay.
All right. And awesome. Great conversation. So as we wrap up, any last words of encouragement? Give you something faith-based.
Uh, I'm gonna go back to faith again. We need to apply faith. I say to everyone, you have to not think about faith in a mystical, religious perspective, but faith is simply believing that what you want wants you.
Nice.
What you want out there, it wants you. So you have to learn that if it's there and it wants you, you have to move towards it, right? Take the steps.
I never heard that
What it is.
definition before, but I like it.
Yeah, yeah. What you want out there, it wants you,
Yes.
right? It's there waiting for you.
Okay.
So you have to move towards it.
Yes. One of my quotes is who you seek is seeking you. That's just another way of saying that. So that's great.
Yes.
I love it. Yes. We're gonna end with that. Yes. Faith.
Yes.
Have faith. We talked about Dr. Martin Luther King's quote that faith is like, taking the stairs and only seeing the next staircase,
step.
right? So it's the same thing that Dr. Frank is saying. You don't need to see the whole journey. You only need to see the next step. And that's basically how she has achieved success because all she needs to do is take the next step. And that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. But if you're not stepping, you're not going anywhere.
And we would help you. We will definitely help you to take that next step.
Next step. Exactly.
Yes.
Great. Great conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life. We're talking about unlocking your full potential as an entrepreneur, unlocking your full potential in life. You need to know where you want to go. And, Dr. Frank has her Frank Collective that helps you go there. And if you want to learn about real estate investments, she already has that. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you were inspired by this episode today. Definitely, if you're watching on YouTube, give a comment. If you're watching on iTunes, would love for you to subscribe and also give a rating. I try to bring you, quality guests like Dr. Frank every week. Thanks again for tuning in. And until
Thank
each
you.
time, namaste.
All right. Thank you.